Aloha. May just jumped up and she's saying Happy New Year. She um she just had some water. How I know that is I should call this cat Water Kitty, but I already got one of the 22. All right, 22 cats outside. That's called Water Kitty because as a kitten she was playing in the water. I named all my cats out there. They were 44. I don't know where the other 22 went. But all I got is 22. Now, May just came over to say hello for a second to say Happy New Year. And I know she came over because she plays in the water. I don't know if you kids have any cats that play in the water, but I got one. What do we got for a thumbnail? Is obviously Happy New Year. And I know some, like Christmas, last Christmas, every Sunday, Uncle Martin has a true story for you kids. So it just happens to be this year. Last Sunday was Christmas. Merry Christmas. And what does that mean to you kids? Well, we already went over that. Now we have another thumbnail on a Sunday. Just happens to be New Year's. So that's going to be the thumbnail. What does that mean to you kids? What does Happy New Year mean to you? Is Uncle Martin's question. Well, I got something for you. It was just between. I know you kids play hide and seek, all right? And this will come full circle for New Year's, the thumbnail. Now, there was a time where Bro and we didn't have very much to do except play games. One of them was hide and seek. I don't know if you kids play hide and seek anymore, but we played it in the house because it was right after Christmas, going into New Year's. So that's why I can come up with this little true story for you on something you might consider not doing when you play hide and seek. Okay, that's all Uncle Martin's saying about it, and it will come full circle on New Year's because I just got to get rid of this little story, this true story. So Bro and I were in Millstone, New Jersey. It's 1965. My first fifth grade again. Boy, this keeps coming up. I got a bunch of stories for you kids for all the schools, the 20 schools I went to, and I graduated. This is Millstone, New Jersey again. We're in the house that I spoke of, may have had a little negativity to it, which I'll probably have another story on that one too for you, but not right now. We're just going to stay with the hide and seek portion of this little story. So we played hide and seek many times in this house, but this particular time was a little different because I couldn't find Bro. I mean, the rules are, by the way, that you have to stay in the house. When you're playing hide and seek, there's different rules. When you're playing in the house, you got to stay in the house. If you're caught outside the house, you lose. You win if somebody can't find you in the house. That's how hide and seek works, kids. You know how that works. So I was getting tired of looking. I must have looked for, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes to an hour. This kid was good, a positive hider. And you know what I was going to do, kids? Excuse me. I was getting tired of the game. And you know what I thought? I thought Bro broke the rules and he went outside to hide. So I was going to go outside and look. Actually, I didn't care. If that's the way he wants to play, that's fine. If he wants to play, if he wants to break the rules, that's fine with me. I'm not going to play this game anymore. So I was heading out. Well, I already checked the attic. Oh, I was down in the basement, and there wasn't much. The coal bin had a little bit of coal. I had to go get some wood anyway. I had to go chop down some more elm trees, as you know in episode 8. That's how I got a lot of my strength, cutting down dead elm trees. But you have to go to episode 8 for the barking beetle and all that stuff. How I dealt with that ninth grader, and I was in 6th grade. So actually, I'm in 5th grade, second 5th grade. That was my 6th grade. Holy mackerel! So I didn't even reach. I was just beginning chopping down the dead elm trees. You kids are fantastic. You're reminding me of things in a time period. This was 1965. So as I was going through the basement and I was heading up through the doors, we had an outside exit to get outside to the apple tree, green apple tree, my double-story clubhouse, and I was going to go up there and read some comic books because I still got them. They might be worth some money. Mom always said, you should check those out. So there was a little voice that said, you did not check one spot. And I said, there's no way bro would be there. There's no way. I listened to that little voice that said, go check. So I turned around, went over to the old refrigerator. I opened it up. There was bro. He was like turning blue. He wasn't breathing very well, but he had a little breath going, and he took a big, deep breath. And I think I yelled something, I don't know, something like, you should not be in the refrigerator hiding. And I think that's what Dad might have heard. And the next floor up would have been in the kitchen, bedroom, living room area. I guess Dad came down, and because I kept saying, I'm not going to play this game anywhere. Mom and Dad said, yeah, you're playing hide and seek, you got to finish the game. And I guess that's what they heard was the refrigerator. And as you know, kids, you never, ever, ever hide in a refrigerator. A lot of kids have done this in the past, and it's turned out very negatively for them. In this case, bro got the black belt, not me. I was the hero. This is the first time in a long time I wasn't getting a black belt. But bro was, and then after the black belt for bro, Dad did come down to get his tools, and he took off the door hinges. And that's what anybody out there that is in this position of an old refrigerator, I suggest, kids, you go tell your parents or guardian to go get some tools and take the hinges off the old refrigerator. And they'll say, oh, and why is that? And you can tell them Uncle Martin's little story, that maybe your little brother or sister that is in the crib that might be growing up, that you're going to play hide and seek, whatever. So this would never happen to somebody in a negative situation. I just wanted to throw that out there because it was right between Christmas and New Year's, and it was back in 1965, basically on that Christmas where we didn't get any presents. We learned the rules of it's better to give than to receive, and that was in the last episode. Christmas, what does it mean to you? I'm not going to go back there. I'm staying with the thumbnail, New Year's. And what does New Year's mean to you kids? First of all, do you know even where it came from? Of course you do. You were taught this in school a long time ago. It started about 4,000 years ago. It was in the Babylonian times. Yeah, the Babylonians. They were actually taught by the Atlantis. But nobody brings up them because we only go back, I believe, in your schools, unless they're really updated on things. Atlantis went down approximately 10,900 years ago. So we don't really pick up our history until like after that time. 8 to 10,000 years is when you guys are probably getting taught. But some of you schools out there, I believe, are teaching Atlantis now, and I'm going to say fantastic. But we're just going to go with 4,000 years ago. The Babylonians had it under a different date than January. They had it under March. March was March 15th, somewhere in there where you're planting seeds. I don't know if it was wheat or corn. I hope it wasn't weeds. Sorry. It just brings me back to thought, what you're planting, corn or weeds. So they changed it about the time, I guess Julius Caesar came in, the Julian calendar. He changed it to, by the way, do you know where January came from? Anybody? Anybody? Oh, I can hear somebody screaming. Janus, the god Janus. It was a Roman god. And it was Janus. And what did he stand for? What did Janus, the god Janus do? Well, he had two heads. One looked that way, one looked that way. Actually, kids, you should be thinking about that when you cross the street. Look both ways. All right? Keep that in mind always. Can't get that across enough for you kids. So this god Janus, what did he stand for? Well, he stood for middle ground. He stood for the dualities, life, death, youth, adulthood, the rural, urban, war, peace. He stood for the two sides of things. Transition, actually. Transition. That would be, and it was in the hallways and doorways. And that's fantastic because I just thought about something. Dreams. I will have an episode on dreams, on how to diagnose them. And when you're in a hallway, that is a transition, by the way, symbology-wise, when you get in dreams. But that will be another story. Put that on the back shelf. I promise I'll get into symbology and dreams because I know some of you don't dream. Some of you, I dream it. It's been bugging me all day. Yeah, those are the people. You're the people I want to talk to. And even the people that don't have dreams. There's black and white and there's color. And I know a lot of you folks don't have any dreams, but I can help you with that possibly someday. Just put that on the back shelf. It'll be under symbolic dreams. Perfect. That's what the episode will be on. So we have a changing of March. Where did March come from? Anybody? March came from Mars, the god Mars, the Roman god Mars. That's where March came from. Go figure. So they changed from the warlike of Mars in March. Julius Caesar changed it to Janus, which would be the changing of times of the year. The year has changed now. It's January 1st. So now what you're going to do is you're going to look both ways. You're going to look forward or you're going to look backwards. And the idea, I believe, in the New Year resolutions, which starts back from Babylonian, and Uncle Martin's saying it started in Atlantis, but we'll just leave that alone. It's too touchy of a topic. You know how I feel about touchy topics. So we got the changing of the guards, you might say, from the gods, from Janus, or from the warlike Mars to Janus. From March was the equinox, the new moon, vernal equinox. That's what they had in Babylonian times. It was when there was sunlight and darkness, exactly the same. I guess it was a big thing with planting things too, corn or wheat. So what we have here, kids, is what does it mean to you? I know you're looking around and you're seeing all these grown-ups, all these people with more experience, all and eating and partying on New Year's. But that is one concept actually that is going on a planetary system. I believe it is in Australia at least 70% or more men and women that think of it as a New Year resolution. They actually take the negative things in their life and they put it to where they're going to go positive with it. So it's not only Australia, but it's all over the world. Pretty much we're under a New Year's resolution, which is giving up those lesser things within us. Like supposedly, let's just say getting angry or having uncontrollable emotions or having hatred or your fears or maybe overeating or maybe hurting someone's feelings. These would be the lesser things that we might have to think about first. You have to think about it and then say, hey, I do have these situations. And then say, well, what do you want to do with them? What do you want to do? I'm going to get rid of them. Well, New Year's is a perfect time to do it. You just throw it into the flame and let it be consumed to where that lesser thing that you have is now being burnt up right within your little heart flame fire that you're building up daily by doing more love and kindness and helping people. Like kids that you might be a fast runner and some kids slower. And how could you help him? Well, maybe you can tell him whatever your trick is, maybe running, sports, whatever it is, maybe helping them with the homework. Because kids, we're all at different levels, as I've said in the past. That's why you can't really judge anyone for being slower or less equipped mentally, but they might exceed you in other places. So by helping them, they might be able to help you down the road that you didn't even know you needed help in. See? I'm going to tell you a little secret. For centuries, kids, for centuries, mankind is making sacrifices. They're killing animals and throwing them as sacrifices to, well, to God or to the gods, which would be, the gods would be more the reflection and the one source. I think you know how I feel about that. I'm more for the one source than the reflection. It's just the way I understand things. Well, you can choose. You can choose. Always choose. Reflection, the reflection, or the source. As man goes, that's what we're here to learn. What is the source and what is the reflection? That's what we're here to discern. That's all. It's nothing you don't already know. You know it's better. It's more positive to be more loving, more kind, more generous than being spiteful and kicking and pulling your sister's hair. Maybe that's something you have to throw into the flame. You'll no longer pull your sister's hair. You'll no longer kick your brother. See? Or you'll stop whatever it is taking their candy and not letting them know about it. Whatever it is, kids, I know you're doing something that you're in your heart you know you shouldn't be doing. You might be getting away with it, but not really, because what comes around goes around, as Uncle Martin has said. What you give out, you get back tenfold. And people that have so much experience still haven't realized that yet. But that's what we're here to learn. That's all. So, on the New Year's resolution, kids, this is what it's really about. Taking that lesser self within us that, well, let's just say, you can look at it as a big blob or a hunk of meat. Okay, you might be a vegetarian. Okay, so you can look at it this way. It's a big hunk of rotten meat, or it's a bunch of vegetables that are not edible. So those things would be the 5 poisons that I spoke of in the past. We'll just go with hatred, mild dislike, fear. Just take 3 of them. Or maybe spiritual pride, thinking you're better than someone else. Any of these things would be the rotten meat or the rotten vegetables that we have to just throw into the flame and get rid of out of ourselves that we all have. And I know there's people saying that you don't have any of these things, and you're the ones that are going to graduate this time around if you don't have any of those 5 deadly poisons, as I said before. So the sacrifice man has done for centuries is he thinks that he's going to have to kill something outside himself to put it on this sacrificial fire, which they've done for centuries. And the concept is just out of balance. It's not the outside that we're going to grab something and kill. whatever it is, and sacrifice it. It's that inner, lesser self that more than likely has more of a control over us than we really realize. And it's to take that part of us and start slicing away, however you want to do it. And you're not going to do it all at once. You're not going to get that whole hunk of whatever you got and throw it right on the flame. It doesn't work that way. You have to work in pieces. And that's why the New Year's resolution comes in, where whatever it is that you have that is of the lesser, you want to take and carve away and get rid of it. I don't care if you throw it out there into you can call it the Great Central Sun. Let that throw it into the Great Central Sun. Actually, scientists do know now that we do have a Great Central Sun. It's right in the middle of our universe. It's a gigantic sun. So think of it that way. All these lesser things you're just throwing right out into that Great Central Sun. You don't want it anymore. Or you got a nice heart flame that's nice and if actually you can think of it that way too. Slice away and throw it into the flame, and that flame starts getting bigger. Perfect. It starts getting bigger because it's smaller when you have hatred, when you have mild dislike, when you have fear. The flame is not as big as when you start doing the love, understanding, kindness, sharing. That flame becomes bigger. Charity. All these things that are on the positive side magnify that light heart flame, that heart flame that has to be enkindled and brighter. And when that happens, kids, when that happens, then everyone has one, by the way. A subconscious, our conscious self, hopefully somebody's home that's listening to Uncle Martin. Sorry. So many levels to think on that one. Some of you'll get it, some of you won't. And then there's the higher self. That higher self that it's like it's big. It's a big higher self. It's a flame that is guiding us all the time. Some of us hear it, some of us don't. But when we start carving away that lesser self, then we get closer to that higher self and listening more and hearing more, because we're coming more in line with that higher self, then aligned with that lower self, which keeps us from growing spiritually, all right? And some of us don't want to grow spiritually, and that's fine, because that's your choice. It's always your choice. So the other point was, they just hit me right now. Remember, anybody, Star Trek fan? The original Star Trek? Remember when Spock, in that one episode, there was this gal that came on, and she had this box, and nobody could look in the box. They couldn't look. And anybody did look in the box, they go mad. Right? Remember that one? Do you remember that? And Spock said, I got to look in that box, man. I got to look in that box. And because he's saying, this girl's looking in the box. She's looking in the box. I want to look in the box. I want to see what's in the box. Well, he did. He did look in the box. And what was it? It was a bright light, wasn't it? It was a very bright light. And what happened was he went mad. He went mad. And then he finds out later, well, she wasn't able to look in the box because she was blind. She was blind. She couldn't see in the box. And he didn't know that she was blind. So she brought him back and all that, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to go into that episode. I don't know what episode it was. You can find it if you wish. But I find it as a very interesting analogy that we can put that to use right now. We are blind. I know you can see things. I know you think it's bright out there, but we are actually blind. We don't even see our higher self. Some of us don't even know about it, but I'm saying it is there. You can trust Uncle Martin on anything you want to trust. That is definitely true. The higher self is there for you. And the idea is you want to get that higher source in increments, not all at once. You don't want that higher self all at once. You would be like a moth to the flame. You would be like Spock. And that's what happens. People that go right to the source go mad when They don't get rid of that lesser self, those hatreds, those the five deadly poisons that I spoke of earlier. I'm not going to go there again. But those five deadly poisons, if you're bringing those five deadly poisons up to your higher self, yeah, you'll a lot of people just don't fare very well. That's all. So that's what I'm saying. You want to get connected to your higher self, but you want increments. Increments, not all at once. See? See? Maybe you can see, maybe not. But that's why people they're just impatient. And I'm just saying, patience. Patience is the sister to wisdom. Come on, think about it. You got to be patient, kids. I know you're moving around a lot, but you got to be patient. And once you're patient, a lot more things happen for you on a positive level than being impatient. When you're impatient, you tend to do more negative things rather than sitting back and being patient, okay? We all know that. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. So it's the carving away of that lesser self, that I guess it's the self that humanity feeds. That's where you have to see that you want to be in the world and not of the world. Of the world means a lot of the there is no tomorrow. There's no tomorrow, and there's no recompense for anything that I give out. There's no return. And these are the people, kids, you gotta be careful of, because they haven't learned yet that there is a tenfold return, or maybe they do know and they just don't care. But that's still their free choice, and it's never too late. As I said in the past, anyone on either side can realign themselves and start carving away that lesser self at any time. So long as you're breathing air, you're able to do this. And it's always your free choice. Come on, think about it. Nobody's going to choose for you. You can't say that guy chose for me to cut off less of myself, the inner self, the five deadly poisons. No one's going to tell you. Nobody's going to help you do it to where they got their own problems. They got to do it for themselves, like you have to do it for yourself. And it's a conscious thing, consciously. We have to recognize that we have this situation, first of all, because there's people that blow up and get angry, and they don't even think they had a problem with anything. As I was saying before on the episode of Jobs, whatever episode that was, just Jobs. And when I was in corporate, the guys were getting raises for blowing up and getting excitable and promoting fear, all right? They were getting raises. Where the women, I noticed, they were doing the same thing, but they were calling, well, they used the B word, the B word. And that seemed a little one-sided for me. I mean, it was negative for anyone to be doing that, but the guys were getting the raises and the gals weren't. Well, in that corporate field that I was in on the mortgage company, anyway, could be different working somewhere else. Okay, so that's pretty much what we have for what does it mean to you, kids, New Year's. It's always a resolution. And by the way, I know somebody's missing out on New Year's, and you're going to be watching me July 4th, on Easter, Halloween. It doesn't matter when you're seeing this video. Once you can see that it's the concept of a new year. You can have a new year when you wake up in the morning. When you wake up in the morning, you can say, this is a new day. This is a new year for me. I'm going to start doing these 5 deadly poisons today. Start carving away, throwing it into the flame or out into the great central sun. And if you need help, you can ask your guardian angel right above you. We all get a guardian angel. Excuse me, when we come into this little planet, we all get a guardian angel. And you can ask your guardian angel, hey, I need some help on this. Would you mind helping me? and they'll be right there. The angels don't help kids until you ask for it. That's one of their rules. They don't just come in and, well, they do protect you sometimes when you don't even realize it, but when you really get down to the stuff of getting rid of stuff, negative stuff, you got to really ask them, because they can't interfere with your free will. That's one of the laws. Now, I know there's a lot of people around us right now on this planet that are interfering with your free will, but that is so much karma that they're going to be getting back. They don't even realize it, or maybe they do. I don't know. I'm not judging anybody. So that's about all I'm going to say about New Year's and how it's been around since the beginning of our history, that it's time that we get a reevaluation of what we've been doing and getting rid of the lesser and going more for the lesser being negative, and go for more of the positive. And pretty much that's what it comes down to, kids. New Year's, it's not about popping the bubbly, which you're too young to be doing, by the way. So until till next Sunday, I'll have another true story. It'll come out positive. So until we see each other again next Sunday, aloha and be well.